Hey everyone, this is Parker from Route4Me, and today we're going to be talking about how to help you when you have new customers coming in, all the time, and you don't really know how to add them into your operations, into your routes efficiently, or that's often a very painful process for our customers that we can help out with. So really, we've got new customers are changing routes daily. And you really can't add them to routes efficiently. So that's what we want to help with. Looks like we've got a few people joining the meeting right now. Jim's coming in, Patrick, looks like Steven is coming in. All right, great. Okay, Carlos is coming in, good, welcome. All right, there's a few people trickling in here. That's great. So if you're just joining us, we're talking about how to add new customers to your routes. Your routes are changing daily. They may change very quickly. So let's jump into that. That's really the focus of this webinar, is to show how you can easily add and remove new stops without having to worry about them affecting other stops. So can everyone see my screen? There's a little hand up. If you press the little hand up, or in the chat, if you put in the chat, yes, Jim says yes. Thanks, Jim. Okay, great. So I'm going to go ahead and jump into this. So here we are at Route4Me, and let's go ahead and I'll go ahead and log in here. Or actually, I'm already logged in, so it'll take me to my account home as I click on that. We're just logging in with the email address and password. It keeps us logged in. So here I am. So what I'd like to show you is the address book. So here on the left-hand side is what I call the blue home bar. Very easy to navigate to the various features that you'll need to use Route4Me. But we can see the address book here. So there's really two views of the address book. These are essentially the same. It's just a different view. There's basically a list view and a map view. So if I remove a stop or add a stop into the address book list, it will automatically add it into the address book map and vice versa. So I think we'll go over to the address book list first, and let's take a look at that. And so there's a number of ways to add contacts or get contacts into the actual address book. That's usually the first question, is how do I populate this? You can see I've already got this populated with a lot of different stores here, their addresses, and there is other data as well. So you can put as much information in as you want. So I can edit this. I can put the alias. I can change the color of the pin on the map, change the icon if I want to do that on the map view, which I'll show you in a moment. And guys, if you have any questions, I think I forgot to mention this. If you have questions, just put them in the chat window. I might grab someone to come on and ask a question just over the web here via microphone if someone has that and wants to jump in. So, but if you do have questions, just put them in the chat window. I'll see if I can answer them. So getting back to this, you can put any details in. If you need custom data, you can put in custom data. Let's add a piece of custom data, special instructions, gate code is 1, 2, 3, 4. So you can put anything in that you want, and that information will be available to the drivers when you assign them. So all that is in there and very flexible. So time windows, we can even schedule stops, and I'll kind of show you some of that as well. So getting data in is very easy. I can just click File, and I can add an address individually. So if I just add an address, I can type in 123 Main Street, and most of these addresses right now are in Miami. So as I start typing in Miami, Florida, it actually kind of comes up and says, hey, there is not really a 123 Main Street, Miami, Florida. What we did find is Main Street, Miami Lakes, Florida. Is that what you meant? So evidently that's not the correct address. But if I start saying, hey, I just want Miami, Florida, it says, yeah, we do have that. We can go ahead and put that in. It turns green for us. That's the location we want. So that's manually entering an address. You can also add addresses by uploading a spreadsheet. Very simple and straightforward to do. And basically we have a spreadsheet we can just add them via a spreadsheet. So we can add hundreds of addresses at a time very quickly. And if you ever have, there's a question I think from Jim over how does a spreadsheet need to look, or how do I figure that out? Really great question. If you need help at any time, just click on the little question mark here and go to support. You can also reach out to a live chat agent. So basically our route experts are sitting there on the line, waiting to help you. So if you ever have an issue with that, and we have, if you go to support, I'll open this in a new tab here. Very quickly you can find an answer, so I can just search for the answer. I can do live chat, I can submit a case if there is something going on, or it can actually call someone as well. I can show you, real quick, if I go to the support portal, type in spreadsheet, and it actually shows me using spreadsheets, how to format them, anything like that. So you could see the spreadsheet format for upload, very simple. The first row has a header row. That's how we name the data below. So for example, alias and address are in the header row. Again, you can put anything that you want here or match the existing columns. You can see that these are the columns that are available: email, alias, address, city, state, zip, phone, and that goes on quite a ways. You can see what is available. But again, if you have special ones, you can. But that's essentially how to format that. Doesn't necessarily have to be in the column. So alias can actually be column C, or column B or column D. None of that really matters. The only thing that matters is that you have an actual header row. So does that help, Jim? Yes, very much. You're welcome. No problem. Okay, so jumping back into the address book, I think we showed how to actually add and get information into the address book. So I'd like to jump over to the map view and show you something we call search groups to kind of dive in. This is helpful for a lot of businesses, so let's go over to the address book map. And you can also see that in a list view or sort of a business card view, depending on your preference. I just kind of like the list view. I think it makes sense. And everything's searchable as well, so if you need to search for something, for example, let's grab an address here, 14850. So if I search in the address book 14850, you can see it's searching all of my address book for that string of numbers. Now I can search by customer name, phone number, email address, city, zip, whatever it is, and it will show me those on the map. So an example, this is 33054, the zip code, 33054. I can throw that in, and that's the only one in that zip code, so it's only showing me that one again. So, but this is a simple search. So if you want to have a more advanced search, so for example, we want to search for anything, let's create a search group. So for example, we want to see stores in a certain zip code. So let's go ahead and say, hey, let's search through the zip, or let's search through the address here. Anything that contains, or you can use other things like doesn't contain, has word, is equal, or not equal. But let's type in 33178, which is another zip code, and say, okay, that's a search group, and we can even name this 33178. And we can change the color however we want. So you can see that this search group is selected, so it's only going to show me on the map this particular search group. If I unselect it, it then goes back to show me everything that's in my address book. And then again, I'll reselect it. I'll reselect it here, and then be able to show only my search group. So this is really helpful too. You might have create a rule as well, or add another rule and say, hey, I want to also show anything that's in another zip code. So I want to show multiple zip codes, or I want to show customers of a certain revenue size, or whatever it is. You can see I can, these are all my custom pieces of information that I've entered previously. So really depends on how you want to search these. You can do really advanced searches to really show exactly what you want and need on the map. So, okay, I'm going to go ahead and just unselect these because I've got enough here. and again, you can add addresses from here, add an address, upload an address, anything like that. I can actually even right-click on the map and say add nearest valid address, add this exact location. I can zoom down and get street level if I want, and see all of that. So, okay. I think in terms of creating a route, I want to go ahead and show you how to do that. There's a number of ways to do it, either from the list view or the map view, which we're on right now. From the list view, you can just select them and click Plan Route with Selected. From the map view, it's kind of like drawing a circle, or a custom shape. I can, up here in the top left, I can draw a shape, draw a rectangle, draw a circle. So I'm just going to draw a custom shape here and say, okay, I want to go ahead and create a route, and I know that I've got this section, and for whatever reason I can say, okay, I want to only create a route with these particular addresses here. 64 addresses, it tells me in the bottom left in this selected region. Very simple. I can right click on this, or if I have more that I want to add, so for example I said, oh, you know what, I want to actually also add these to the routes. I can plan the route right from here, so I can say, hey, add these or plan route with these area addresses, and that's one way to do it. I can also generate orders as well, and I'll kind of show you what that is. So is this all making sense to everyone so far? I just want to check in with everyone on the webinar. It's just type in the chat, yes, makes sense, or no, or if you have questions. Okay, looks like everyone says yeah. Okay, great. Great. So we can just plan a route with this, and it will immediately generate a route. Or what we can do is generate orders. So, for example, what if we know that we need to visit these addresses tomorrow or next week? What we can do is generate orders. So basically, I'll go ahead and generate these orders, and you can see there's a confirmation. We'll go ahead and confirm, and we'll schedule these for the 25th of January, so that's next week. So let's go ahead and click OK. And that will basically send them to another feature, 72 addresses here. It says orders successfully generated. Excellent. And I don't want to plan the route from here. What I want to do is, either the day before the 25th, I know that I have my orders, and I need to plan my routes. So we're kind of pretending to go into the future here. Ultimately, what we do is we go to our orders screen, which is this one right here, and we can say, hey, we've got all our orders here. That's great. If I need to manually add an order, or maybe a customer calls in, I can add an order and just say, yeah, sure, what's your address? I'll go ahead and put it in. Or you can put them into the address book for safekeeping, so they'll always be there. And then when the customer calls you back, you can just go to the address book and say, generate order from this particular address. So this is sort of a one-off. Okay. What I'll do is show you how to actually plan the route from the orders now. So if we go to the calendar, okay, so we've gone over to the orders page, and you can see here we're at the calendar. So we can see we planned 72 stops as we did earlier, or scheduled them, these orders to be done. So all we have to do is click on this particular day, which is next week, the 25th, and load it in the hybrid editor. So let's go ahead and load that up and plan the route. Very simple and straightforward. What comes up, it says, okay, we've got all of these locations that you loaded up. These are the orders for the day. Let's go ahead and put in all the settings. If we need to add an address, we can. Let's do the route name. We can change that if we want to anything we want. We can schedule the start date, which is obviously going to be 25th, but maybe we need to change the start time to 8 a.m. Let's go ahead and do that. We can do the distance. We can do a drive time optimization, which is much better than straight line optimization. These are real driving conditions. Optimization, single driver route, multiple drivers route, balanced team routes. If you have any questions on that, we have another webinar that we do to kind of explain all this. I'll just do a single driver route for this particular one. Route type, let's make it a round trip. or into any, let's make it round trip. And let's go ahead and re-optimize this. So depot is not defined, so it says choose it now, so we can enter the address. So let's just go ahead and type in the address. You notice as I start typing in, it's pulling data from my location or from my address book. So in parentheses, it's saying, hey, where do you want to start this? Do you want to start this at store 145? So it's recognizing Miami. It's also recognizing what's currently in my address book. If I start typing in depot, for example, you'll notice that quite a few depots came up because those are actually in my address book. So all I have to do is click it and click OK. And now the system will go about and create the route. Should take just a few seconds here. Okay, and now it's playing the route. So we have the route here. It shows us a view of the route. There's a number of ways to get to the route, but it's now nicely optimized. So we can just assign this to a driver, and we are done. So a lot of questions come up. What if I have a new address that comes in? Probably, you can just click Add New Address. You might go to the routes list and say, hey, let's go ahead and look at this one, and let's go to the routes list and open it up individually. It was this one. And so if an order comes in, we can absolutely add that in. So for example, let's say a customer calls us up and we're needing to insert an address. Oh, it's store 145 calling us. So let's go ahead and start typing in store 14. Do I have that in my address book? Yep, looks like I do. Store 145. Very good. I already have it. Let's go ahead and put it in there. You can see it's in. Okay. And then if we need to add other addresses, we can. And of course, we can upload addresses. So I can finish adding address. I can choose what to do in terms of the optimization, add it after the last stop at the optimal position. I can automatically re-optimize the entire route if I like. In this case, I'll just say, hey, let's put it after the last stop. And it adds the stop in. So that's the very easy way to add stops in, to create orders, to make sure you're being efficient. Obviously, you probably will be making multiple routes instead of just a single driver route. So it's just a simple example to show you. So is there anyone who has a question, wants to jump on the phone? Could you just raise your hand? Stephen, let me enable your mic 1 second. Stephen, are you there?
Yeah, hello. Can you hear me?
Yeah, how are you?
I'm doing well. So it looks like you you covered most of my questions, but the only question I have left is what e-commerce platforms do you integrate with?
Great question. Great question. What are you guys using, Stephen?
Yeah, so we're currently using QuickBooks.
Okay, great. We can integrate with QuickBooks through something called Zapier. We also, if I jump over, let me just jump over to our support page and show you what we integrate with. So I'll go to the Find an Answer here. And you can see on the front page, actually, it's Route4Me e-commerce plugins. So you can see all of these are here: WooCommerce, BigCommerce, Shopify, Magento. QuickBooks is handled in a different way. I can show you that. But yeah, ultimately you can just jump in and use any of these. And if you click on any of those, it's going to show you how to integrate. So we integrate.
Oh yeah, that's pretty cool. We actually used to use Shopify, so that's pretty cool that you integrate with them.
Yeah, and so it's very quick and easy. You just authorize basically, and you can send an order right from there or get an order back, anything like that. So it's very quick and easy, and those are really, really nice to have. So if you're using any of those, you can also use Zapier, which is an app that connects a lot of different apps. So if you aren't using one of those four, you can probably benefit from Zapier, which actually connects, for example, it will connect QuickBooks up with Route4Me as well. So very quick and easy to do. And you can connect it with all kinds of other apps that you're using or softwares that you're using in your business. So okay, great. Does that help, Stephen?
Yep, that definitely answered my question. Thank you.
You're welcome. Anyone else have a question? Doesn't look like it. Was this helpful to everyone? Just want to check in if you type in the chat yes or no, or anything. Yeah, good, good, good. Looks like we're getting some yeses. All right. Well, great. Well, if you haven't started a trial yet, you can go to Route4Me.com. If you are currently a customer or in trial, please reach out anytime to our routing experts, either on support, on live chat, phone. I showed you those earlier. If you ever have questions or need anything or think, hey, does Route4Me have this capability? It's very likely we do. If we don't, we want to hear your feedback so we can make our platform a lot better. So with that, I think I'll end the webinar and end this and say thanks to everyone for joining, and have a great day. Thanks, everyone.